everyone, to all my friends who've been devotedly watching the COVID Warrior series over the last few weeks. As you know that I always do my series on Saturday at 6:30 p.m. But this week I chose to do it on a Sunday, and there is a very special reason to it. India celebrates Guru Purnima today. And Guru is the epitome of knowledge, is the epitome of devotion, is the very guiding force of one's life. As the world is combating the coronavirus pandemic, our Vishwagurus are our doctors. And very recently, we celebrated the International Doctors' Day. I decided to make this exception on doing this on a Sunday purely due to this reason. Today is Guru Purnima. We celebrated the International Doctors' Day this week, and I have two extremely legendary doctors with me today who's a part of this discussion. I have Dr. Sharique Nazir, who's joining me all the way from New York, United States. And well, there's a huge length of introduction, and all those who know Dr. Sharique know that he doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to still go ahead and introduce him. Well, Dr. Sharique Nazir is one of the most coveted doctors, very, very well known in the United States. He is an MD, he's an FCS, he is also the Surgeon General at NYPD, which is the most coveted police force, as most of the viewers would know. That is the New York Police Department. He's also the Vice President of the Royal College of Surgeons in the US chapter. Dr. Sharique Nazir has been closely working with COVID patients, with the United States government to combat this pandemic. Dr. Nazir, welcome to COVID Warriors. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Dr. Nazir's roots are from India, so it makes it even more compelling that he will be giving us a lot of perspective, which are global, to add a lot of value to the show, and especially the viewers who are watching it. My second guest is one of the most important people and one of the most important warriors who's in the front line combating COVID, especially for Karnataka. Dr. B.L. Shashi Bhushan. Well, he again needs no introduction, but it's an extreme honor for me to introduce him to all of you today. Dr. Shashi Bhushan is MBBS, MD in pulmonary medicine. He also finished his research from United States and is currently at the helm of the COVID task force for Karnataka government. Dr. Shashi Bhushan, welcome so much to COVID Warrior. My Atman Naman to both of you today on this auspicious day of Guru Purnima. And thank you so much for being our warriors, for being our anchors, for being the reason for our survival, because nobody had anticipated that 2020 will be this. And it's only because of the selfless work that the doctors are doing in the front line that we see a ray of hope. So with that, we are starting the show. There's going to be a lot of questions, and I already have a lot of people who are chatting with us. As we progress through the show, we'll take questions from our viewers, from our listeners, and we will ask really important questions so that people who are watching today can be educated about this pandemic a little more. And the coming days are very crucial. So I will start with you, Dr. Sharique. It's been 7 months now. We are still seeing the cases rising at a monumental rate. You are in the midst of all of this. You are in the city that is, while is known as the financial capital and the dream capital of the world, but is at the center of this pandemic, New York State. Well, the government felt that they were able to minimize the number of cases and was able to find solutions to the challenges, but seems like the cases are again on the rise. Dr. Sharique, where are we in this pandemic? Are we really gonna exhaust the rest of 2020 fighting it, or is there any ray of hope at the end of the tunnel?
Good morning to all the viewers who is watching in America, and a good evening to all the viewers who's in India. And thank you so for inviting me. And I think we are meeting. This is our second show.
Absolutely.
The first we did for the Apna Bihar News.
That's right.
Just a little change, in my designation. I'm the honorary police surgeon, and then of New York Police Department, and the vice president of the International College of Surgeons. I work at NYU Langone Medical Center, and also I'm the assistant professor at NYU School of Medicine.
Wow.
And I really congratulate you and kudos to you for giving this awareness to the mass. I see you have thousands of viewers, and this is a beautiful platform to make people aware
Right.
of the pandemic which we are facing, as a lot of
Right.
people are ignorant and they
True.
basically think that COVID disease is a death sentence.
Right.
And it's more dreadful than cancer, people are thinking about, and the people are doing suicide. I've seen and heard in the news clips and video and my messages from my friends. So I just want to clarify to all the viewers and from your platform that this is not a death sentence. And I,
Right.
being a physician, a surgeon, have closely watched people with the COVID disease. And in
Mm-hmm.
America, as you see, especially the New York is the epicenter of the
Right.
disease. And we have more disease and more death than whole over the India. India is like 1.38 billion people.
Right.
And we are a small population, but the death in New York was 24,000 people have died it. So it's not a death sentence because a lot of my colleagues got this disease and they all recovered very well. And
That.
uh, and as you know, yesterday was the 4th of July, and
Mm-hmm.
we first time since the our country got independence from 1776 from the
Right.
Great Britain. This is the first time we saw less firecrackers, less barbecues, less people going to the beaches,
Mm-hmm.
and less events because people are all afraid. And if you have heard that we had a Memorial Day on 25th of May,
Right.
and there were four states, especially four states like Florida, California, Texas, and Arizona, which didn't follow the CDC guidelines. CDC is the Center of Disease Control, which we have in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody basically went on the beach,
Mm-hmm.
and then they started, uh, enjoying themselves. And now we see the repercussion now. So now in America, we are facing 40,000 of new cases every day.
Mm-hmm.
And this figure has been doubled since the month of June 26. There were 26,000, now it's all of down 40,000. And
Wow.
I'm pretty more scared because in New York, as the Governor Cuomo just told yesterday, that we
Mm-hmm.
saw 918 new cases of coronavirus. And
Mm-hmm.
in June, around 24th of June, it was 900. And so we were very happy that things are getting better. But now things are going back. So
Right.
the important and the statistics, you have seen the statistic. Dr.
Yes.
Bhushan was going to tell you about the statistics of India.
Right.
But the most important is that the four principles, the four guidelines, which each and every state or each and every country is trying to put forth, is
Mm-hmm.
social distancing, number one, wear the mask, number two, and personal hygiene and responsibility. And people are ignoring it. Some people, they say they follow basically all or none phenomenon. All means they're very strict, very disciplined, and they follow the guidelines properly.
Mm-hmm.
And the other category of the people are none. They don't even follow anything what the
Correct.
CDC has, put forward. So that
Mm-hmm.
category of the people is making the whole society and whole state as well as the whole country, you may
Right.
say the whole world as at
Correct.
risk. So we should
True.
be careful about this type of, the people's what we have.
Right. No, Dr.
So yeah.
No, no, I want you to continue. Please go ahead.
No, so basically, this is the principles which we should follow it, because if you see our Governor General,
Mm-hmm.
of the Surgeon General, I must say,
Mm-hmm.
he tweeted long time back in month of February or early March that wearing mask cannot prevent you from having the disease. He was
Right.
correct, you know. So a lot of people, in America, when I flew to India for a conference, I remember the day it was early March, and I didn't see anybody wearing the mask there. I myself didn't wear the mask because I followed what his guidelines are. But wearing the mask, you are protecting the other peoples, because there are still a lot of people who are carriers,
Yeah.
asymptomatic carriers. I might be a carrier myself, which I don't know. So in
Right.
order myself to protect my friends, my families, my elder, relatives, or my elder people in the society, I should be wearing the mask.
Correct.
Yesterday we had a small barbecue, and one of my friends came in, and he had a heart disease, he had a heart surgery, and he has other medical problems. And I see this poor guy was wearing the mask, and there was nobody at all around him. And I
Mm-hmm.
asked him quietly, I said, why are you wearing the mask? You are basically not protecting yourself, because he
Mm-hmm.
was all alone. And you
Mm-hmm.
are inhaling the CO2 which you are expiring.
Right.
we inhale the oxygen, and the CO2 basically stays inside the mask, and then he's
Correct.
inhaling back. So I told him that if you are in the society, if you are in the among the people, then you should wear the mask if you think that you may be the carrier. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are all alone, there's no need for wearing the mask. This is the clarification I just want to bring forward to your viewers.
You every time I talk to you, Dr. Nazir, I get so enlightened, and I'll tell you why. Because see, first of all, there is this whole protocol part of it, right? Like, and I'm going to go to Dr. Shashi Bhushan and talk more about it. One is the protocol, what the government is telling us to do, what the doctors are telling us to do, but there's also a sense of accountability that lies with us, right? It is also self-discipline, that you need to be aware of your health condition. You need to be aware of the fact that the virus is asymptomatic and you can be a carrier for a really long time without exhibiting any main, like, signs of the COVID disease, and spread it to others. And those who may have autoimmune disorders, may have other deep seated issues, which, whether it's a heart problem, whether it's diabetes or any other immunity related concerns, can quickly get the virus and fall sick. And that's when the challenge comes in, especially if you have older parents at home, if you have people who are unwell at home. It's very important to be careful. So like you said, one very important thing to keep in mind is that when you're around people, do wear the mask, because it's better to be cautious. You are protecting others and you're also being careful about yourself. But if you're by yourself, if you're living in the house alone, or if you have come back home, please do not wear the mask, because like Dr. Nazir said, that you're unnecessarily inhaling the CO2 back, which is again not good for your health. So these are some things which are important to keep in mind. And Dr. Shashi Bhushan, I'm going to come to you with that. I'm going to talk about India. I'm going to talk about Bangalore. When the virus hit us in February, the government quickly took the step for the lockdown, which was deeply appreciated from all quarters of the world, because they said that India has taken the most important decision. Even though it looks drastic, it may be economically a challenging decision to take, but it was the right decision because the population is so humongous. And also, we have people from different strata. So, kind of managing that and combating the disease would have become difficult. Indeed, kudos to Karnataka that it was able to manage it so well in the last few weeks or even months. But now we are seeing Karnataka at an all-time rise. It's all over the news. We are seeing huge number of cases every day. I'm not sure if we have enough capacity to manage this. My question to you, Dr. Shashi Bhushan, is that you're at the helm of the COVID task force, one of the most instrumental, most important role that we have for the state. What are the challenges that you're seeing? One, two, the cases are at an all-time rise. How are we going to manage this? Do we have the infrastructure? Do we have the planning to manage this? I think that's what I'm going to focus on with the first question, Dr. Shashi.
Yeah, soon after the lockdown was opened up, there was a steep high rise in cases. So this is
Mm-hmm.
what we have noticed in the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Actually, we had suggested the government regarding the preparedness, how to prepare for the surge in the cases.
Right.
So we were estimating almost end of March, sorry, May 31st. Our
Mm-hmm.
estimation was 30,000 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So till today, even today, we have not reached 30,000. That was our estimation.
Oh.
Our preparedness was like that. So we were over prepared initially. So
Mm-hmm.
after this lockdown, because there are a lot of issues. One, there is no physical distancing, like what
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Nazir was telling,
Right.
wearing of the mask and sanitization,
Mm-hmm.
overcrowding. So
Mm-hmm.
they took it very lightly. The Bangalore is a big population, almost
Right.
1.24 population.
Yeah.
So almost now since last 5 days, every day we are seeing about 1,000 positive cases in Bangalore. So the beds are filling up. So we need to tackle the critical care. So
Right.
what we have planned is we have, as per the Government of India guidelines, there are three
Mm-hmm.
setups:
Mm-hmm.
COVID care centers,
Mm-hmm.
COVID care health center, and
Mm-hmm.
designated COVID hospitals. So
Mm-hmm.
our being a designated COVID hospital where we take care of only critical patients,
Okay.
moderate and severe. So
Okay.
this CDC, what is called as COVID Care Center, CCC. So these are something like that, huge setup, like this Kantirio Stadium. Then we have this Haj Bhavan. So big stadiums have been converted into a hospital, like 500-bed hospital, where
Right.
asymptomatic patients will be kept here.
Correct.
So mild to moderate symptoms will get into the hospital. Severe
Okay.
patient will come to a facility where the ICU facilities are there. So this
Correct.
is our preparedness. So the surge is happening. So we need to have more beds. That has been happening right now.
Mhm. But what would you suggest the Bangaloreans? You know, I'm in Bangalore, and indeed, you won't believe, Dr. Sashi, it's a very unique situation. My home is New York and Bangalore. I live in New York and I come to India every few months. And this time when I came down, I couldn't go back. And I'm here now, and I don't know when I'm going to be going back. But I'm seeing like both the places are seeing a huge number of rise. Um, you know, New York, we're going to talk about it with Dr. Nazir, that what is the preparedness of New York for the next maybe few weeks or months. But Dr. Sashi, what would you suggest the viewers, like who are watching, especially the Bangaloreans? Today is a lockdown, but tomorrow we're going to go back to work. And so what should we focus on as organizations, as individuals? What are some of the proactive steps that we should be taking?
So my suggestion would be try to stay at home as much as possible. Especially the elders should never try to come out. In case if it's an any emergency or any personal work related, only then you should come out. That is how it should be. And if you are coming out, a mask is a must, because the weather is not good as of right now in Bangalore. It's
Right.
raining since
Yep.
almost since 1 week. So
Yep.
this weather and the virus can there could be a lot of surge. So we need to educate our population in Bangalore regarding these things, to try to stay at home. That's the only solution. So
Right.
if you are asymptomatic, no
Right.
issues, you may recover. But if you have
Mhm.
comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension, thyroid,
Mhm.
ischemic heart disease, these are
Mhm.
the patients vulnerable who go outside, get infected, land in
Mhm.
problems. They get to the ICU. So it's difficult for us to get them out. So try to be at home. That is the only advice
So
what we can do.
so if you do not, so viewers, those who are listening, whether you are symptomatic or not symptomatic, remember this is a season for falling sick. This is a season you get all kinds of infection because of the weather condition. It says, like, it's an ideal state for the virus to kind of build its colony, manifest and mutate, and really kind of make you very vulnerable. So unless you are into an absolutely essential service or work, it's best to stay at home, especially keeping in mind of those where your parents are elderly. Dr. Nazir, I want to come to you with this, right? You talked about that this is not a death sentence, and it stayed on my mind when you said that. This is another virus. This is like the swine flu or the other forms of viruses that we have battled in the previous years or in the previous decades. Then why is that? Why is that this virus is mutating so quickly? Why are the strains changing every time? And there was a lot of news about that. There are kids who are getting a different form of the virus in New York and in California and other places. Could you shed some light on that? Could you tell us a little more about that? Because the strain of the virus that came to New York was from Europe, but what came to California was from China, and seems like there's a lot of difference between the two.
That's a very unique and very good question you posed. Just for clarification, I must say that let's talk about, for general population, what is
Mhm.
bacteria and what is virus.
True.
Bacteria basically does not change its format, does not
Mm-hmm.
changes its strain. It remains as it is. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you see thousands of antibiotics all around for bacteria, and you
Mm-hmm.
can treat the bacterial infection
Mm-hmm.
easily. But
Mm-hmm.
virus is the only bug which is basically smallest than the bacteria, and
Mm-hmm.
you need an electron microscope to see this creature. It's very,
Mm-hmm.
and people say it's a non-living organisms, not even living organisms. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps changes its format, like it keeps mutations. That's the whole characteristic of the virus infection is itself, that it changes the mutation. That's why till now we have not get a single vaccine as
Mm-hmm.
we speak. For
Mm-hmm.
example, HIV is another virus, and when
Mm-hmm.
HIV was coined in 1985 in
Right.
United States by Dr. Anthony Fauci, The
Mm-hmm.
Secretary of State at that time of the health
Mm-hmm.
vowed to the general public in a Senate that within 2 years, I'm going to launch a vaccine. And now so many people have died with this,
Mm-hmm.
35 million and above people have died with HIV.
Right.
Vaccine has not come up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly the same this virus is, coronavirus. And this coronavirus is not a new virus. There were a lot of strains of coronavirus which humanity has faced. This is a new strain which is basically going from man to man, like human being to human being.
Mm-hmm.
Initially started from the animals, now this is going from man to man. That's why there's no, right now, we don't have any vaccines coming up or still on the work. So now this virus mutates less. That's why there are a lot of industries and a lot of companies, they're working very hard to prepare the virus because this mutation of this particular virus is very slow, not as
Mm-hmm.
fast than other HIV, other influenza or other infections there.
Right. Right.
Now, having said that, let me talk about a little bit of India because a lot of people are viewing about India. India is a very young population.
Correct.
90% of the Indian population is 60 and below. This is the fact. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
India is a huge country of 1.38 billion
Mm-hmm.
people all around there. The
Right.
infection rate is still very, very low as compared to the general population, you must
Mm-hmm.
say. Unlike in New York, small
Mm-hmm.
population, a lot of people got affected. So it still is very positive information, positive news for the Indian population there. You must have
Mm-hmm.
heard the name of Jay Prakash Mulial. He's
Yes,
a
of
great
course.
man,
Yeah.
a huge epidemiologist, and
Right.
he was saying that India, half of the Indian population will get affected, as per se. Ashish
Yep.
Jha, another big name
Yep.
in the infectious disease from Harvard, he
Yep.
also claims that there will be a lot of cases in India, and they're
Correct.
talking about herd immunity. I will ask Dr. Bhushan also what is herd immunity means. Like if you're preparing the mass for the herd immunity means you want the people to be infected, and you
Mm-hmm.
want, because it's India young population, you want like 90% of the people getting affected because they can face this disease, they can
Right.
fight out. But what
Right.
will happen to the elderly population? Because we see here in India, myself, I've lived all my life there, my
Right.
parents still there, my brothers, my whole family is there.
Mm-hmm.
So they all live together. Like my father lives there, and my younger brother, he's there. He married. He got a young kid. So there are three generations right now in my own house living
Mm-hmm.
together. And
Mm-hmm.
my brother does not behave, but he goes all the way down for his work or for his other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I always tell caution that you're going out, but what will happen to my parents?
Right.
So this herd immunity. People like a lot of in countries like India and China, they believed in herd immunity because we don't have the vaccines right now, and
Mm-hmm.
only solutions to this problem is getting people infected, and so that they can develop this immunity, but at the cost of death also at the same time.
Right.
You know,
But that's what they
so
call a little bit of collateral damage, right, Dr.
yeah,
Nazir?
yeah, collateral damage.
And
Yeah,
I want to talk to Dr. Shashi Bhushan about it because he and I were
yeah.
talking about
Let's ask him what his views
yeah.
are
You
in
know,
terms of herd immunity.
you said, Dr. Shom, we are more focused about the mortality rate. We are more focused about the percentage of people we are losing versus the percentage of people we are saving. So, Dr. Sashi, this, Dr. Nazir talked about some fantastic points, right? He talked about, and most importantly, herd immunity, the young Indian population. But is it better to get infected so that we then build immunity, given that there is no vaccine and we don't know how it's going to work? So over to you. This is a very interesting area. We want your insights into it.
Yeah, as of now, the whole India testing is out 1 crore. So India
Mm-hmm.
has tested 1 crore through RT-PCR, and out of that, say around 6 lakhs
Mm-hmm.
90,000, something, somewhere is the positivity. And
Right.
death in India is about 19,000 something, 2,000,
Mm-hmm.
200 something. So
Mm-hmm.
taking that 1 crore testing, our
Mm-hmm.
positivity is very less.
Mm-hmm.
So what Dr. Nazir was trying to tell the same thing. So the death is also very less compared to. But for an herd immunity to happen,
Right.
so you need all the whole population to get infected. All vulnerable will die. So that will
Right.
be a huge. So it will be in crores. The death will be in crores. So
Right.
for a herd immunity to develop, I mean, I am not for that to happen, because we
Mm-hmm.
are looking at a point to reduce the mortality. UK initially said that we'll go for herd immunity, and they had trouble in facing. Suddenly there was a upsurge in cases. Suddenly it will settle down. So these issues are there. For really a herd immunity to happen, it will take. I mean, for our population, it will be in crores. Death will be in crores. So that's not our view. So I would not want people in crores dying.
So I have questions coming in, and I'm gonna start with you, Dr. Shashi Bhushan. So I have a very good friend of mine, and she's a celebrity author, Srimoy Piukundu, and she's watching this show as we speak, and she asked me this question, and I think it's important because she has older parents at home. And by the way, Shri is one of those friends of mine who's seen a personal loss. And Dr. Nazir, I want to share this with you. She lost her aunt, and like her Masi and Mosa, so her mom's sister and sister's husband, within a matter of a week, right? And they got infected from their house help. So Dr. Shashi, I want to ask you this. We are especially in India, herd immunity, like you said, is not a solution. So where is the vaccine? It's 7 months now, and I'm hearing, I'm going to come to Dr. Nazir after this, that I'm hearing that ICMR is going to be launching Covaxin, which is they are touting as the vaccine, but we know that especially human clinical trials, take about 3 months, because my parents are doctors, I'm aware of it. So human clinical trials take about 3 months to validate if the vaccine is going to work or not. But what happens? 2020 is going to be over. Are we any close to solving this challenge?
See, for any vaccine to develop, it will take minimum 2 to 4 years.
Wow.
So here, what has happened in COVID, the situation is they have fast-tracked certain things, especially in the US. The Moderna, which is by the US, they are trying to fast-track it, trying to get it probably next year. So one more vaccine from AstraZeneca in Oxford in the UK, they're in the clinical trial. They're in the third phase, clinical trial of phase 3. Probably we may get it this year end. Regarding our Indian vaccine, it's an inactivated vaccine. I'm not really sure that initially there was some statement saying that August 15th, the PM would going to be, then it was withdrawn. So it's not easy, like what everybody is telling in the news or telling in the papers, the vaccine coming up in the near future. Probably I can expect a vaccine by 2021.
Wow. Okay. So that's a long way to go, Dr. Shashi. So Dr. 2021, and we still are dependent on the US pharma companies, because we know that, they have the muscle power and the resources to work on this vaccine. But what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts? Because you're right in the front line. You work with a lot of virologists, you work with a lot of the experts, you have a lot of access to information. But does it look like 2021? But if 2021, what are we going to do till then? How are we going to manage the situation?
So this is for my okay.
This is you, Dr.
Just sorry, I didn't. So just a few background for the vaccine. So for general population, I'm talking about Dr. Bhushan must be knowing a lot than me. The vaccine, to develop any vaccine, it goes into 3 trials. This is called phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. As Dr. Shashi was saying, that to develop from A to C, its minimum requirement is like it goes in years, because this is a mass population is getting affected. You can't do a trial, in human trial for 300 to 400 people and bring the vaccine right to the mass, to the thousand crores of the people. No, it's very, very scary also. I myself, will be 100% want to make sure that vaccine which I will be getting is strong and healthy and will not cause any other problems. Because any issues, that vaccine can come back. For example, the dengue fever vaccine which came up, that lead to a Guillain-Barré syndrome. Big disease came up, neurological disease. So it's not a safest thing. And I will never wait for the vaccine to happen. If vaccine comes in, it's a blessing in disguise. I'll be very happy to accept it. But I will not just sit and wait till vaccine is going to come. There are a lot of works going on in the pipeline. You'll be amazed that one of the authors just wrote recently. There's so many works going on in the COVID that has not never been done for any cancer patients, any other neurological disease, or any other pathology. They're working right now, day and night, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Each and every country is involved in getting the vaccine. And the 4 countries right now in forefront, like America with Moderna there, then China is developing, a few vaccines. India is there.
Yeah.
Oxford has done a lot of work. They're basically on the last trial.
Right.
So now what they're facing, the American government and our scientists, they moved. They're working. The one group of people is working on a vaccine. The another group of people is working on antibody treatment, like plasma. And this has been proven. So many epidemics we faced, this country has faced, and this world has faced.
Right.
And then we believe that plasma, which we get from the people who got infected,
right,
that carries the antibody.
Correct.
So that antibody really works very, very well for the patients who are critically ill, or the patients who have not been ill but very vulnerable, like old populations, nursing home patients. That antibody can be given. So what they're doing, the science they're doing, is that they're doing a scientific development of that particular antibody. They're called monoclonal antibody. They're developing it, and they're in the labs, and the work is going enormously. And we think that this may come before the vaccine can come up. And this will be a good treatment, because you can give to the patients who, as a prophylaxis. Prophylaxis means patients who have not been sick. Right. And you can give to the patients who are critically ill. This is called plasma antibody treatment. And I'm pretty sure that we can achieve this treatment. I'm not sure about the vaccine itself, but I'm pretty convinced and pretty sure that we will get this plasma antibody treatment, and this will work in our favor for all the patients who are very vulnerable, who are very critically ill, and the patients who basically in the verge of dying. So that is possible, and we have attained a lot of work, and basically we are very, very close to the completion. So that's the good news. If we develop a vaccine, let's see, then there are a lot of factors comes up. That's why Dr. Shashi was saying that it will take time to reach the population, because first of all, the country is going to give to their own citizen, number one. And second thing is that how are we going to bring to the mass, to the poor people? You cannot afford. With the government is going to finance this vaccine, is the industry is happy to come up, to finance. There's a lot of things like Microsoft. There were a lot of new rumors, and in WhatsApp, in Facebook, and they were like maligning things. They're saying against the Microsoft, people. But that's like Microsoft. All these big companies, they are not. They're financing, but they claiming that once the vaccine gets developed, it will be purely charity-based vaccine. They will not get any profit from there. Wow. So we should not blame. We should not, start criticizing the company. Oh, this company is financing for this vaccine. Must be some conspiracy. He must want this, to make money. But they are doing this for the charity purpose. So that's my thought process in regarding the vaccines. I'm not very, optimistic, but we'll see and hope, for the best. One thing what we can do as a human being, is that the 4 things, we should develop, we should concentrate, and we should work to improve our health. Like you are performing an excellent job by, giving the medical information to the society. And then it's our responsibility, being a citizen, being a human being, to improve our health. We have worked very hard to make money. We have devoted all our life to make our houses and buying cars and everything, but we have not devoted time to improve our immunity. I must say there were the 4 P's. I was just listening to one of the videos, and I love that video, and I want to share with your viewers the 4 P's. How to improve the health or immunity. Immunity is the most important thing. Like whoever is immune right now, they are the one who basically facing this virus nicely, and they're not even symptomatic. So our job, right now, rather than thinking about a vaccine, is to develop our immunity. And how we develop the immunity, we should concentrate on 4 P's. One is spirituality. I'm a very spiritual person. Prayers give you more calmness, yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Second thing, pranayam, like Modi ji was doing,
Right.
exercise to improve the lungs. Okay,
Right.
we should always have positive thoughts. We
Mm-hmm.
always think pessimistic. Oh, if once the disease
Yeah.
comes in, I'm going to be killed first. You know,
Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
money. It's a lot of stress. So we
Yeah.
should be positive
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and positive intention. If we have these four P's in our life,
Mm-hmm.
then we can develop the immunity. You know, reading the science, being a physician and a
Yeah.
surgeon,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of thoughts and emotions comes in our mind,
Right.
and all like more than 60, 70,000 thoughts and emotions comes in the mind, and each thoughts and emotion basically affects the immune cells.
True.
Immune cells are the one basically sees all these thoughts and emotions. If these thoughts and emotions are negative, that is
Mm-hmm.
going to affect our immunity.
Yeah.
So we should always have positive thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
positive, and for the
Absolutely.
people, not for ourselves, but for the whole, population. We have so much hatred for the people around,
Yeah.
so much grievances, so much hatred. We sleep in the night with
Yeah.
so much things in our heart. If we clean our heart,
Yeah.
this is basic stuff. We don't
Mm-hmm.
pay attention. We think, we read books, but the basic thing God has given us, to clean our heart.
Mm-hmm.
This is bring to spirituality. I'm talking about spirituality, being a surgeon working in
I
NYU
know.
hospital,
I
but this
wanted
is a
to. I
fact.
wanted to share, that's what I wanted to talk, Dr. Nazir. Like, there's something that I always believe in, and I talked about it in one of my talks. Is that there is one way that you can heal through medication, but there is other way where you heal through motivation, and motivation
Yeah,
has.
because a lot
You
of
know.
patients who comes to me, and
Yeah.
if I sit with them, even
Yeah.
spend time with them, even a minute or 2 minutes,
Yeah.
they really. I've didn't have done anything. For example, a lot of I'm from India. If you go to any doctors in India, they will write 5 different antibiotics, yeah, to the patient, and they will say, if I don't write 5 antibiotics, this patient is going to go to another doctor's, and he
Yeah.
will get that antibiotics, and then and he will say, oh, this doctor is wonderful. But just talking to the patient nicely is
Mm-hmm.
more than medications. It's more
Right.
than antibiotics. You basically killing that poor guy who
Right.
walks to your office, who's poor,
Mm-hmm.
who cannot afford the medications, and you're writing
Mm-hmm.
5 different antibiotics to him, telling him to
Mm-hmm.
go and get this medication and you'll be fine. No, talk to
Yeah.
the patients in a positive way, reassure them,
Yeah.
make some empathy with the patients, and he will be more
Mm-hmm.
than happy. He will develop immunity. He will be more stronger when he walk out from your office, and he
Right.
can face the world, and he can face all this, the germs, and in the filthy environments which we have right now.
Yeah.
Another thing
I,
is that
One
right
second.
now, one
Dr.
important thing
Sashi,
before, sorry,
I want to ask Dr. Sashi one thing, Dr. Nazir, because you have so much
yeah.
of information and you love to share that. I want to ask Dr. Sashi one thing, that Dr. Sashi, Dr. Nazir talked about, he talked about various aspects. He talked about the whole plasma infusion from the already infected patients is one way of cure, because I myself, I'm not a big believer that vaccines are always the best solution. They're just preventive, but they're not curative, right? Um, I have suffered from swine flu, and I was admitted in the hospital for 18 days in Narayana Health. And I contacted the disease when I was traveling from London, fell sick, my lungs are weak. So one of the things that Dr. Nazir talked about is pranayama. I do Brahmari, I do pranayama, I do Om chanting as a way to inculcate positivity, to reduce the stress, because I have a very stressful work life, because that also affects the immunity. Dr. Sashi, you are in India, you're seeing what's happening. Please share your thoughts on the aspect Dr. Nazir talked about, and I shared with you. How do we
Yeah,
manage?
yeah. I totally agree with what Dr. Sharique has completely what he has shared
Mm-hmm.
about things.
Mm-hmm.
The words, the first visit a patient comes to you to your clinic,
Mm-hmm.
the first looks only probably 80% of the disease will be cured when the way your appearance to a patient is, the
Mm-hmm.
way you talk, then another 10%. Rest of the things what he was telling about this, all the 4 P's is really excellent, doctor. I mean, I would
Mm-hmm.
go with you for all these things, whatever you are. I don't know how you are practicing in the US with these 4 P's.
Yeah.
uh,
He's
so
amazing.
coming
That's
to,
why he's on our show, Dr. Sashi. Dr.
yeah,
Nazir
yeah, yeah.
is a rare doctor, and now he's a friend. But the reason I wanted to get him is that he doesn't practice medicine as just a way of earning. He practices medicine as a way of life. There's a
Yeah.
difference,
That should
So
be it. Yeah, coming back to the convalescent plasma, what Dr. Sharik was telling about, we have used in our it was from the ICMR, the Government of India and the Drug Control of India gave permission for our institute for phase 1 clinical trial for using of convalescent plasma therapy for 12 patients, 12 control and 12 patients, 12 test patients. So it's in the process already. About 6 patients have been given convalescent plasma. Out of that, we lost one patient. One patient died in the initial days. That was, he was on the ventilator. I mean, the next, what we understand by this is, whatever treatment, whatever type of treatment you give it to a patient, the timing is important. The earlier you give, there is a lot of recovery. So
Correct.
once on the ventilator, or if the disease is progressed, I mean, I doubt whatever you do, there is no cure for it. That's my take.
Correct. So, Dr. Nazir, I want you to complete your chain of thought. I wanted to get Dr. Sashi's inputs. You had something else that you wanted to add to, the whole spiritual way of healing. I love it, because that's more powerful, doctor, because the 18 days, I was in the hospital, I literally wanted to get out of there. I'm like, okay, I'd rather, please, just send me back home, because I was tired of all the injections and all. But then I had Dr. Sagar, who was treating me that time. He came, he sat with me, he told me, Shom, the cough is going to go away, the breathing issues are going to go away, and you'll be fine. You can start, you can get back to your regular life. This is not how it's going to be. And you won't believe, that gave me such a strong ray of hope. I felt like, oh, it's fine. I started getting a lot better the next day onwards. So I wanted you to complete that chain of thought that you had, Dr. Nazir.
This is not that I learned. I basically, it's experience. In America, when you do any residency, I was trained in England, and I finished my medical school. Then I went to England, did some training. Then England is different treatment, completely different ball game.
Right.
Then come to States, 5 years of training, then fellowship. And I watched very closely, being a trainee doctor, a trainee surgeon, I watched very closely different attending. Attending is a consultant here. And I've seen that people, like some attending who comes in, some consultant doesn't do anything, and he has a lot of patients population following him.
Right.
Then I see whether he's some magic he has. He writes some different antibiotics. He does something different. But I see he just, spend his time. He's just very optimistic. He treats his patient his own family members. This is very important, how you see it, And I always tell everybody, all my residents here, all my surgeons, that if you want to become a surgeon in America just to make money, if you want to become a doctor in America just to make money, you're in wrong profession, because you don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. People have, like things are changing. Like government comes in, Democrat government comes in, things will get different way. So you should always be in this profession to to help the society, to help the people around, and how you help and how you treat the people. That's very important thing there. Are you listening me? Or?
Absolutely, I am. I just didn't want to interrupt.
Sorry, I was, sorry. So that's we learn from there. And then I see my friends in India also, the way they treat the people around. That's the important thing. Second thing I just want to add to this spiritual stuff is some general knowledge to the viewers, that please, this is the very, very high time. Whoever is in smoking, have been doing this for a long time. This is a very high time to please refrain from smoking. This smoking is complete no right now, because whoever has smoked, they didn't do very well. And Dr. Shashi will basically add to it. This is because all the viral infections right now which we have affects the lung, and that's the people. After doing the postmortem, what we see is that everybody who died with this COVID has severe lung issues. And if you're a smoker, and if the COVID comes in, then you're going to behave very badly.
Right.
And then a second thing is that alcohol intoxication. This is another thing which I will advise everybody, because we are in this modern world, and everything is a toxic to our system.
True.
Like the food we eat, the fatness what we eat, being a bariatric surgeon, is already compromising the liver. And if you drink alcohol on top of it, you're basically hampering or injuring more. And a
Right.
lot of states in India, like Bihar, where I came from, it has
Mm-hmm.
completely banned alcohol drinking because it's not productive. And
Mm-hmm.
the third important thing is that please eat the food which is
Mm-hmm.
very good for your health, not
Got
for
it.
your tongue. Tongue, because we love the food which is
Yep.
just meant for the tongue. And we
Yep.
don't care what is going to affect and what will be the long term effect in
True.
the body, on the system, how they're going to digest, how they're going to excrete.
True.
We don't even think about it. So
Mm-hmm.
my suggestion and advice, as a friendly to
Mm-hmm.
everybody, is that you can treat yourself once in a week. You eat whatever you feel like,
Right.
but the
Right.
rest 6 days or 5 days a week, be
Mm-hmm.
careful what you eat,
Mm-hmm.
and eat which is good for your health, which is good
Mm-hmm.
for your system, rather than
Mm-hmm.
just for your mouth sake.
Dr. Nazir, you won't believe, it's like you echo the sentiments and the thoughts of a lot of things that I believe in, or I've heard from my parents. And you're so young, you're accomplished, but you're spiritual. You're someone who's in US in the middle of all of these things, but you're still keeping your head high, and you talk about things that are so genuine. Especially, it works fantastically when it comes to the Indian ecosystem. And I want to share this before I go to Dr. Sashi, that I have had it's a hereditary thing, but I've had gastritis problem from a very young age. When I left home and came to Bangalore, I'm from Kolkata, but when I came to Bangalore, the food habits changed. I was very young. When you're outside home, away from your parents, you tend to listen to the tongue less, listen to the tongue more, and the body less. So that led to me having severe gastrointestinal problems. And over time, even though I enjoy food, I have given up on a lot of things. Anything that is fatty, anything that is deeply spicy, anything that is acidic, including pani puri, which I loved, right? I stopped having it because my body started rejecting it. So, like you said, the body talks to you. It's very important to listen to your body, and it's very important to pay attention to what your body is accepting and rejecting, especially during COVID times. It's very important to have food that is rich in antioxidants and that is also very, very good for your immune system, right? And Dr. Sashi Bhushan, I want to come to you. I have a question from Renu Sapre. She wants to ask you this question that, she's worried about her children, right? They're in India. They're seeing a lot of challenges right now, because of the COVID pandemic. They're unable to even distinguish cold and cough to COVID. She wants to know, what kind of symptoms does she keep in mind for her children to ensure that they're protected, and if they exhibit any kind of symptoms, what kind of precautionary measures can she take? Most importantly, because it's the cold and flu season, how do you demarcate? How do you protect your children?
Yeah. Before I answer that, I just wanted to share regarding the H1N1 time. It was in
Yeah,
2008-9. So
yeah.
we have worked extensively during those days.
Yes, you have
So
many research papers, and I wanted to come to some information. You're an expert
uh,
on pulmonary medicine.
yeah, because you yourself were infected. So
Yes,
I
I
mean, I
was.
just wanted to tell that. See, for H1N1, we have a very good drug.
Yeah.
What the oseltamivir, it's a very effective drug for H1N1. The same
Hmm.
thing is not available for COVID right now. So that is
Hmm.
one differentiation what is seeing, and is happening. I just want to share another what Dr. Nazir was telling regarding smoking
Right.
part. Smoking, see, initial days when we started working from March onwards, our admission started March onwards.
Hmm.
We started seeing all type of patient. We started seeing COPD patient. We have started seeing bronchial asthma patient, tuberculosis patient, obstructive sleep apnea patient who were
Hmm.
with COVID positive.
Hmm.
All during those days have we have treated them simultaneously for both COVID and
Hmm.
the coexisting whatever they had, including diabetes, whatever it is. So all have
Okay.
recovered and gone. But
Hmm.
same situation is not happening in this month, the June end
Hmm.
and the July. Just it's because of the one is the weather factor. So
Okay.
weather and their habits is not going. I mean, not helping them. So
Got
what
it.
Dr. Nazir was telling, better to refrain from all those things.
Hmm.
That's a good suggestion what he has given.
No, everybody.
Coming back to the
Yeah.
sorry.
So I said it's one of the most important thing that Dr. Nazir
Yeah.
highlighted, which everybody should
Yes.
be
Yes.
following, right? Like no intoxication, no
Yes.
smoke.
Yes. 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 Regarding coming back to the question,
Mm-hmm.
This is again a peak time for any viral infection.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you have to keep some medicines at home, like a paracetamol, antihistamine, some cough syrup. You just have to wait for 1 day. Symptoms may be same for what COVID and any other viral infection.
Right.
So if it does, I mean, always better to have a suggestion taken from a pediatrician or a doctor. That would be the
Mm-hmm.
most ideal. In case
Okay.
emergency during this hour, if something
Mm-hmm.
happens, so immediately you can give some medication at home. If
Mm-hmm.
not, then they have to go to a doctor. So ideally
Mm-hmm.
speaking, children are doing very well. When it comes
Children
to
are doing
COVID,
very well. That's great news.
very well, very well. That's a good thing. Till
Mm-hmm.
date, we have not have any problem with any, even fever. They have subsided. Our ward is almost. We have children. Initially, we have treated more than 50 to 75 children. So
Mm-hmm.
all have come. During it was 14 days stay in the hospital. So
Mm-hmm.
the guidelines keep changing. Now it's only 10 days. So the
Okay.
14 days they have enjoyed their stay in the hospital. It is like that for the children, especially for the
Wow.
children. Asymptomatics are mild symptoms. So this
Mm-hmm.
is
But have you seen children with severe symptoms? Have you
no.
seen?
We have
No.
not come across. We have not.
That's great news for all the parents. So I know there are
Yeah.
a lot of mothers watching. Dr. Nazir, the next question is for you, and this is from Neha. So there are a lot of mothers watching there, and as mothers, I have an 11-year-old daughter as well, and as mothers, we're always first concerned about our children. Right, that's the most natural thing. And hearing from you, Dr. Sashi, that the children are doing so well, that they are their immunity, their the youth is on their side, the immunity is on their side, and they're combating it with a smile. It makes, I think, all the parents really, really happy. That comes to you, Dr. Nazir. I have somebody, a person asking me on YouTube to ask you this, right? Is the situation for children the same in US? So there's somebody who's asking from Texas that they are going out playing because they can't keep children at home. There are a lot of challenges because for parents also it becomes very overwhelming after some time. But is it safe to let children go and play? Is it safe for children to mingle with others? Because we do not know if those guys exhibit symptoms. So this is from a gentleman called Jacob. That's his question.
Yeah. So as I just add and I believe and it's correct, Dr. Shashi is saying this is
Mm-hmm.
a good news for all the kids. That kid, nothing's going to affect to the kid. But
Mm-hmm.
problem lies if the kid comes with the virus
Mm-hmm.
and affects the grandma in house or
Mm.
grandpapa. That's the main problem.
Got it.
So you have to be cautious. Like if you don't have anybody in the house who is age more than 60 and have diabetes. Diabetes is the one which is not behaving very well with this coronavirus,
Right.
who have heart disease. So that's the
Right.
scary part. But for the
Right.
kids, it's a good news. Nothing is going to happen to kid. They're going to stand this virus very easily and very nicely with no symptoms, no issues.
That's amazing, Dr.
Yeah.
Nazir. Another question for you, and this is basically especially for people who are allergic to pollen, who are allergic to, who have dust allergy, other kinds of allergy. What about them? Are they a cause of, is there a worry that we need to be able to think about them, or is there any precaution? Because I'm going to come to Dr. Sashi. There is a lot of talks about taking 2000 mg of vitamin C every day, drink lots of warm water, take zinc, XYZ supplements. How much of that is really, really potent, is really going to work on your system? And is it one size fits all?
Yeah. So there's no relation with pollens. Pollens will cause allergic rhinitis,
Mm-hmm.
inflammation of the bronchioles and the tissues of the lung, but it's not going to affect with the corona. There's no relation at all. And
Mm-hmm.
regarding, I'm more towards the good food,
Mm-hmm.
rather than banking on vitamin C and banking on zinc and drinking warm water. There's no relationship at all. If you eat good food, if you maintain your good physique, if you
Mm-hmm.
improve your immunity, then I
Mm-hmm.
will not advocate going madly with all these different multivitamins. There's like a lot of things are running in the business. There's so much
Right.
medications all around the shelf.
True.
People are like they're taking tons of medication, tons of multivitamins each and every day. That's not
Yeah.
going to affect, because I, being a bariatric surgeon, we do a multivitamin levels, because once we operate in a bariatric surgery,
Mm-hmm.
after 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months, we monitor the vitamin levels. And
Uh-huh.
we see that a lot of people, they have sufficient vitamin levels in their
Mm-hmm.
body.
Mm-hmm.
And then mostly in America, we see that there's a lot of vitamin D deficiency. And I don't think Dr. Shashi will be more capable of saying how the
Yeah.
situation there in India in terms of vitamin D. But here in America, we face a lot of vitamin D deficiencies are there.
Mm-hmm. So,
Now,
Dr. Sakshi, I want to come to you. I have, one, I want you to answer supplementary to what Dr. Nazir just
yes.
talked about. What are the deficiencies, especially when it comes to India? Because, see, the countries are different, the environment is different. Therefore, the way our body reacts, the kind of nutrients, the kind of absorbent capacity we have is very, very different. So, what in India? That is one. Secondly, do we have to worry about pollens in India? So, US, Dr. Nazir, not that much, but what about India? So, if you could throw some light on those 2 points, then I have another question that is coming from Neha. I want you to answer that.
Yeah, when it comes to Poland, again, Poland has got no relation with COVID. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
totally different entity.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Poland may cause allergic rhinitis or bronchial asthma, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in a situation like this, during this time of the year, in Bangalore, Bangalore is the capital of allergy. It's called
Right.
capital city of allergy for India.
Oh,
So
yes.
here, maximum asthmatics or allergic situation is more in Bangalore.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are not under control, they are likely to get infected with COVID. So that is
Mm-hmm.
another issue. If they keep going out, if they are indoors taking their medication, they should be fine. So
Okay.
that's from one point from Poland. When it
Right.
comes to
Mm-hmm.
uh, vitamin D deficiency is also very rampant in India. We are seeing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of vitamin D deficiency when it comes with tuberculosis patients.
Mm-hmm.
So it is common. Now you take for any, especially in India,
Mm-hmm.
any condition or any system involvement, there is a vitamin deficiency linked to that. So even
Right.
in COVID situation, as a supportive therapy, as you told, we are
Mm-hmm.
giving vitamin C about 1500 milligram every day for
Mm-hmm.
about 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Zinc 60 milligram every day for 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even vitamin D3 replacement. But before you give a vitamin D3 replacement, you need to get the vitamin levels done. So that is
True.
what you have to do. Just
Yep.
blindly you cannot give.
So viewers, one of the very important thing to keep in mind: do not self-medicate. We have this
Yeah.
tendency of popping pills. This is not the time to pop pills without getting the right medical guidance, because sometimes there can be adverse effects. Because I know there's a friend of mine who thought that her energy level was low, so somebody just told her like that: oh, you know what, your vitamin B12 level must have gone down because you're above 30, so you're feeling lethargic. She started taking vitamin B12 supplements, and then she started having rashes all over her body. When she went ahead and did a test, she found out that the B12 level has shot up so high. She had no deficiency. It was just out of tiredness and stress and lack of sleep that she was feeling lethargic. So it's especially during the time of COVID, it's very, very essential to understand that our environment is changing. We are fighting against an invisible, I would say an invisible enemy, an invisible,
That's correct.
demon. We don't know how to treat. We do not know what is going to work, what is not going to work. Do not go get carried away by myths. Take the basic precautions, that important. And we have another 5 minutes, Dr. Sharique and Dr. Sashi, before we wrap up. This show has been so enlightening, so enriching, and I say this because it's not been just focused on the medical, the medicinal, and the health aspects of it. You brought in spirituality, brought in overall well-being. You talked about the importance of eating good food. You talked about a healthy lifestyle. Dr. Nazir, we are far from this fight being over. We are far from this pandemic being over. I have no idea how the next few months are going to look like, going to shape up. What are some of the important things that you want all of us to keep in mind so that we are able to brave this situation with our head held high? And I'm going to come back to you, Dr. Shashi Bhushan, for that, because India is going to have the next few very important monumental months, and we're going to have the peak in terms of the number of cases. So how do we manage the low mortality rate? How do we manage the less fortunate, those who are deprived, those who don't have access continuously to great facilities. So I want you to close on that. But coming to you, Dr. Nazir, please share your thoughts with us.
Yeah. So COVID is not the first and not the last pandemic the human society is going to face. There
Mhm,
have been history. We have more than 10 pandemics, and a lot of millions of civilization has been eroded with the
mhm,
pandemics.
mhm,
And you will anticipate going forward, you will see a lot of this type of disease coming up because we are not paying much attention to the green environment. We are
mhm,
expanding. The
mhm,
forest is getting encroached with the houses being built. The
mhm.
animals have no places to live in now. The
Right.
climate is changing. And all these bugs, all this pandemic starts from the rodents and the
Mhm,
animals, and we are
mhm,
going more closer to them in terms of
mhm,
housing build and all these things. So I will make all your viewers aware that please, this don't think this COVID is only the one. The humanity has faced tons of different pandemics. This is one of them. In your lifetime you'll get
mhm.
another one. So right now your main goal, main ambition is to improve yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and make yourself a very strong and healthy person by
Mhm.
eating good food, employing all the peace which we discussed in your
Right.
show, and then be a responsible person and disciplined person. If the government has laid some guidelines, please do follow the guidelines. Don't be
Mhm.
a hero, because you may be hero for yourself, but you're risking your own family and your own society in
True.
risk. Because if you
True.
get the disease, you will spread the disease to everybody. And we
Correct.
don't have the budget, neither United States have the budget,
Right.
to fight this dreadful disease, which is an
Right.
invisible disease right now we have.
Right.
So it all will come boil to the person's discipline and responsibility,
Right.
and then please, be stronger and be safe. That's my suggestions are.
Right. Right. I think that's
And
that's a great summary, Dr. Nazir. You said something very important. What COVID has taught us is that if you don't take care of nature, nature will find a way to take care of itself, right? Nature is
that's
vaccinating itself against mankind. So, in the urge of money, in the urge of fame, in the urge of everything that we want so quickly, and especially in the urge of building a capitalistic society where it's all driven by valuation, money, the amount of the kind of clothes you wear, and all, this is a lesson for mankind. This is a lesson for mankind that a small organism that is all of an RNA with a protein layer can actually put you in your place if you do not take care of yourself, and most importantly, take care of the nature, which is at the root of survival. I think that's something so important and so empathetic that you said, that I think that is something that our viewers should kind of keep in mind. Dr. Sashi, we are
Yeah.
we are far, very far from this battle being over. Dr. Nazir talked about it, you talked about it, and we almost spent one, I would say two-third of 2020 already, like battling this. The remaining 5 to 6 months that we have, what does it look like? What should we plan for? How are we gonna overcome this challenge together as a society, together as humanity? And like Dr. Nazir said, how important it is to make nature a part of the cure.
When it comes to COVID disease or infection, you don't have to fear. The general public need not have to fear that it's a dreading disease. So
Mm-hmm,
whoever gets will die. It is not so.
mm-hmm,
Whoever is infected among the population, 80 to 85% of the population will be asymptomatic and
mm-hmm,
they recover and nothing happens to them. The
mm-hmm,
remaining 15 to 20%, among that, especially patient or persons who are having comorbidities like diabetes,
mm-hmm,
hypertension, ischemic heart disease, or any
mm-hmm,
malignancy, these are the patients who are vulnerable. So
mm-hmm,
again, these some of them out among them 15% may come out. The
mm-hmm,
remaining 3 to 5% who may land on the ventilator are at risk. So we need to curtail. So to reduce the mortality, what my suggestion would be, all elderly, diabetics, or with comorbidities should stay at home, follow the government guidelines. So as
mm-hmm,
long as possible, be at home. They should never
mm-hmm.
come out, especially the weather is not good in Bangalore, so it is
Right,
not going to help them out. So this
right.
is what. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble like any other big cities without I mean, we don't have beds for the ICU. So it will land up in a situation like that.
Right. Now, any special, policy or anything special that the government of Karnataka is undertaking to combat the situation?
The government of Karnataka is doing a lot of things. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
they are doing when compared to most of the other northern states, the
Mm-hmm.
government has done is really doing in all sense.
Mm-hmm.
The It's just because of the surge which was unexpected after the lockdown. So
Right.
even today, Bangalore, they have provided in a city Bangalore 5,000 beds minimum at now presently. As
Mm-hmm.
of now, there is a surge of every day 1,000 cases,
Mm-hmm.
but the guidelines have been changing. Now, asymptomatic COVID positive patients can stay at home under
Right.
supervision. So that is
Right.
what. So 80% are at home or in a what I was telling about the COVID care center,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
stadiums. So
Mm-hmm.
this apart. So this is the preparedness. Down the
Mm-hmm.
lane, the weather is one which is not helping the current situation. So once it
Mm-hmm.
tides down, probably may settle
Mm-hmm.
down. It will Any viral infection or any pandemic will try to come down on its own.
Right. Absolutely. You both have been such a guiding force in this discussion today, and I can't thank you both enough to not only enlighten the viewers who are watching today, but most importantly, talking about motivation, talking about positive intention, talking about pranayama, talking about how to prioritize overall well-being is as the number one, than fighting COVID, right? I think that is the true essence of COVID warrior. And to everyone who's watching today, I'm going to just say one thing. These warriors, our frontline heroes, our doctors, are taking their time out and joining us from different parts of the world only for one objective. It is prevention that is better than cure. And prevention comes from self realization. Prevention comes from self awareness. Prevention comes from self discipline. So do not take yourself for granted. Do not take the nature for granted. And do not take those who are dependent on you, especially elderly parents, grandparents, for granted. So it's not just about you, it's about all those people who matter, especially all those people who are dependent on you. On this auspicious day of Guru Purnima, Dr. Sharique Nazir, Dr.
Thank you.
B.L. Shashi Bhushan, my naman to you both, for I bow my head down with utmost gratitude for being the warriors, for being who you guys are, for saving and protecting us and guiding us during this time of distress. Thank you so much for joining me on COVID Warriors, and keep inspiring. And I pray to the Almighty that you stay in the pink of health and absolute well being so we all are protected. Thank you so much for joining today. And both
Thank
of
you
you
very much.
have a very good rest of the Sunday. Thank you so much. Thank you, viewers,
Thank
for
you.
watching. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
It